September 2002, most of the world's leaders convened at the Earth Summit in Johannesburg to address the issue of sustainable development. It's a term we'll hear a lot more of in the coming years, but what does it actually mean?
Sustainable development is three interlinked ideas. It's the environment, it's culture and social, and it's also the economic argument. And the challenge is to unite those three strands, those three ideas, into one way of human living that can carry on in an indefinite way.
When you consider the effects of pollution, climate change, and the ever-widening gap between the developed and the developing world, it's clear just how important sustainable development is. Making it work, however, demands radical changes in the way we live, work, and view the planet.
For the ordinary person, I think, to understand the idea of sustainability, we need to think about long-term perspectives. How we can keep living, how we can pass the planet on to our children, and how we can do that in a way that is benefit to ourselves and the planet that we share.
The buzzword of sustainable development is quite recent. It's a 1980s term, belongs originally, I think, to the environmental sector, but is now increasingly being thought of in terms of economics. There's a huge agenda coming down the tracks, as we've seen post-Johannesburg, on the third world, that it too, we have to build a more sustainable international economy.
At the moment on the planet, 2 out of 5 people are living on less than $1 a day. That is unsustainable. There's a huge inequality in the sharing of the planet's resources.
What we've been doing, perhaps the second half of the 20th century, is not sustainable in so many different ways. And unless we address it, we're going to be in deep trouble on the planet.
Balancing the needs of the moment with the needs of the future is no easy task. 10 years before Johannesburg, at the Earth Summit of Rio, 180 of the world's nations agreed to apply the principles of sustainable development in a number of key areas, including climate change, forestry, and biodiversity. Ireland was one of those signatories. So how have we fared since?
The Celtic Tigers had a huge effect on Ireland. I think anyone can see the enormous and rapid change that has gone on. The enormous boom in cars on the road. The enormous boom in house building around our cities and towns. The rapid degradation of our rivers and water systems and natural environment. The emptying of our countryside and movement to the cities. What we have been doing for the last 10 years is that we've been using well over our agreed carbon dioxide and oil and energy levels, and we've been doing that at an unsustainable rate.
When it comes to climate change, Ireland is still part of the problem. Utterly dependent on fossil fuels, we've sidelined renewable energy, allowing greenhouse gas emissions to rise out of control. In forestry, until quite recently, we've ignored native broadleaf trees in favour of monoculture spruce. We've the lowest forest cover in Europe, but we're still putting the environment second and commerce first. Biodiversity continues to suffer at the hands of developers and intensive agriculture. The Sustainable Farming Scheme, REPS, while successful, doesn't affect the intensive producers who cause most of the damage. Add to this problems like waste and pollution, and you get some measure of how far behind we really are. Sustainable development hinges on the involvement of all sectors of society, not just government. CORE, founded in 1998, is Ireland's think tank on sustainability.
CORE is, I suppose, a jury, really. It's a National Sustainable Development Partnership. It includes people from the state sector, experts from academic life, environmentalists. It includes NGOs, non-governmental organisations, and also the social partners, agriculture, trade unions, business. But at the end of the day, we can only cajole and prompt and suggest. It is the full-time professionals, the engineers, the architects, those at local government level, those in the Department of the Environment, and in many other government departments, who have to deliver this agenda. We've then, I think, got to persuade the politicians to take ownership of it, to sign up to it. And if the policies fall short, we then ask, is it through ignorance, is it through negligence, or is it even through hypocrisy?
Sustainable development can't be foisted on society. If a country is to change its ways, every citizen must play a part.
Some people think that it's such a big agenda that what can my small change in behaviour, what impact might that have? But you see, I think it's the bad habits we have that create the problem, so that the good habits will change it.
The challenge to us now is to see how we can cut back, how we can reduce, how we can reuse and recycle.
Energy use, the way we use transport, the way we live in cities. On transport, I personally think that we couldn't do enough for the cyclists. They are the real heroes of sustainable development.
We have fantastic resources in this country. We've got infinite wind power. We've got a beautiful agricultural environment. I think we've a very strong cultural history and heritage, which is lost in so many other countries around the world. Sustainability is almost like the Holy Grail. It's the achievable evolution of the human species. We're starting to grapple with that idea. How we make the step towards it is the challenge for all of us, collectively, but most importantly, I think, individually.